The least competent performers in a domain are often the most confident in their own abilities, while genuine experts frequently underestimate how skilled they truly are relative to others. This counterintuitive pattern, known as the Dunning-Kruger Effect, is fundamentally a failure of metacognition, the ability to accurately monitor and evaluate one's own thinking. Understanding how metacognition works and how it fails is essential to becoming both a better learner and a more accurate self-evaluator. Metacognition refers to awareness and understanding of one's own cognitive processes, thinking about thinking. It encompasses two related components: metacognitive knowledge, an understanding of one's own cognitive strengths, weaknesses, and effective strategies, and metacognitive regulation, the active ability to monitor, plan, and adjust one's own cognitive activity during a task. A student demonstrating strong metacognition might recognize during studying that they do not actually understand a concept despite having read it multiple times, and adjust their strategy accordingly. Rereading is not the same as being able to accurately judge whether rereading produced comprehension. Judgments of learning are metacognitive predictions people make about how well they have learned specific material and how likely they are to remember it on a future test. Research consistently finds that these judgments are often poorly calibrated. People frequently overestimate how well they have learned material immediately after studying it, particularly when using passive study methods like rereading, which create a fluent, familiar feeling that is mistakenly interpreted as genuine mastery, a phenomenon known as the fluency illusion. David Dunning and Justin Kruger's influential 1999 research found that participants who scored in the bottom quartile on tests of humor, grammar, and logical reasoning substantially overestimated their own performance and relative standing, while high performers were more accurate, and if anything, slightly underestimated their relative standing compared to others. The theoretical explanation is a dual burden problem. The same lack of skill or knowledge that causes poor performance in a domain also impairs the ability to accurately recognize and evaluate that poor performance. Genuine competence is required to accurately judge competence. Research following up on the Dunning-Kruger effect shows that providing specific training and feedback in a skill domain reliably improves not just performance itself, but also metacognitive accuracy, the ability to correctly judge one's own performance in that domain. This suggests the fix for Dunning-Kruger-style miscalibration is not simply awareness of the effect itself, which has surprisingly little corrective impact, but genuine skill building combined with concrete, specific feedback that reveals the gap between perceived and actual performance, gradually calibrating self-assessment to reality. Research on effective study strategies consistently finds that retrieval practice, actively testing oneself on material rather than passively rereading it, produces both stronger long-term retention and substantially more accurate metacognitive judgments of learning. Because retrieval practice directly reveals whether information can actually be recalled, rather than merely feeling familiar, it corrects the fluency illusion that makes rereading such a metacognitively misleading study strategy. Students trained to use self-testing as both a learning and self-assessment tool consistently show better calibration between their confidence and their actual test performance. Explicit instruction in metacognitive strategies, teaching students to plan their approach to a task before starting, monitor their comprehension and progress during the task, and evaluate their performance and strategy effectiveness afterward, has been shown in multiple meta-analyses to meaningfully improve academic achievement across subjects and age groups. This kind of instruction treats metacognition as a learnable skill rather than a fixed trait, teaching students concrete self-questioning techniques, such as periodically asking themselves whether they could explain the material to someone else, that make invisible thinking processes visible and correctable. Metacognition, our capacity to think about our own thinking, is not a fixed trait, but a learnable skill, and its accurate calibration may matter as much for real-world success as raw ability itself. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a humbling reminder that our confidence in our own judgment is not always a reliable guide to how good that judgment actually is.